Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Shane if you're new to my channel, and today is going to be part 3 of our sunroof delete on the E36. So right now I'm just hopping in the daily and going to Industrial Plastics and Paints because I gotta get myself some ABS sheets and a couple other supplies. So let's head to the store and then we'll get working on the E36. Nothing like a cold start on the diesel on a Saturday morning. Alright guys, just left Industrial Plastics and Paints, and I got myself a 4x2 foot section of 1/4 inch ABS. Alrighty guys, so we finally made it to the shop, and it is a miserable day out there. Like, it's just so windy and so rainy out here where the shop is, and I'm just not down. So I'm just gonna go ahead and bye, have fun out there. Now we got a nice dry, well lit area to work in, and it's gonna be a great day. So getting the sunroof deleted, and basically I got that ABS sheet because I've never really worked with ABS before. I know it's easy to drill, cut with, I got a nice little jigsaw and put hole saws into and stuff like that. So it'll be really easy to work with, which is part of the reason why I'm using it. So let's see how it goes. I've got this here 4 foot by 2 foot piece of ABS sheet. It is a 1/4 inch thick. And my idea is basically to cut a piece out that's exactly the size of this hole so that it'll sit in flush, and then I'll have a way to mount it from the bottom. This is what I'm going to be using to cut that ABS once I get my template marked out. Just a hacksaw or a skill saw, I guess, with a clean wood cutting bit on it. So basically what I'm going to be doing first is just putting that piece of ABS on top of the roof, and then going from inside the car and tracing out the circle so it's exactly the shape I need it to be. Then I go ahead, cut it out, clean it up, set it in there, and then figure out how I'm going to actually mount it. So the reason I'm putting the paint cans up there is just to kind of put weight on it so that it contours to the shape of the roof, and so I can't see any light coming through, so I make sure I get a nice crisp template here. Alright guys, so now that I've got it set to where I want it to be, I'm going to go ahead and use this silver Sharpie to go ahead and trace the shape out. Because it's silver, it'll show up nice on that black, and I'll be able to cut it easily. So now that we got, look at that, perfect outline of what I need to cut out. So this ABS has a nice smooth side on one side, and then the other side's a nice textured. Alright guys, we got our piece cut to size roughly. I definitely have to just like clean up the edges by sanding it. If you go a little fast, it kind of tends to melt a little bit and then glue itself back together. So keep that in mind. I mean, a different bit would probably work better, but worked perfectly fine for what I needed it to do. So, and this way, it doesn't like melt it completely like if you were to cut it with a cutting disc or something. So I'm just gonna go ahead, clean up the edges, and then see how it fits into my sunroof spot. It is like almost perfect. It is, I barely had to, I just sanded the edges and it almost drops right into place. So I'm really happy with that. So basically what I gotta do now is figure out how I'm actually gonna mount it to the car so that it's gonna be nice and sturdy and it's not gonna leak or anything like that. So I'll kind of just give you an idea of what I'm going to be doing first, and then we'll kind of go from there on mounting this thing. So right here I just have some sheet steel. It's just zinc coated sheet steel. You know, it's pretty, I think it's like a 1/16 inch thick. Like, it's still got some flex to it, but it's generally pretty rigid. So I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a piece so that it goes across the center here, and I'm just gonna rivet that in as a support, as kind of like a base support, and then we'll kind of venture off from there. Alright guys, now we got our piece in there. Pretty strong. I actually only have one rivet on each side right now just to kind of do a mock-up. So I'm going to go ahead and put my piece on top of here and see how it sits. Alright guys, so now that I got that first brace in, I can kind of work with that. Now, it doesn't fit perfectly flush with the top of the roof, but I will fix that. I will kind of shim it so that it's nice and flush. So now I gotta support all 4 corners. I'm basically going to be cutting out 5" by 6" pieces of the same piece of sheet metal and riveting them in all 4 corners. So it's got that one main support down the middle, and then all 4 corners are going to have a support as well. And then I can then shim the sunroof until it's nice and flat, and then I can go ahead and rivet the actual sunroof from the top into those pieces of sheet metal I've already riveted into the car. So this way it can be removed without by just drilling out the rivets and then replacing them if I do need to remove it for whatever reason. I thought about putting the piece of sheet metal on top of the roof and riveting on there, but then you're drilling holes in your roof. You can't reverse that. This way it's all from underneath, and you know, it looks cleaner in my opinion. Alright guys, so right here I got my 4 corner supports. So basically they are 5" by 6", and then I had to lop the corner off of them so that they'd fit properly in the car. So I'll show you that once I get one of these riveted in place, and then we'll kind of go from there. Here we go, ladies and gents. So here's 2 of the corner pieces. I actually have 2 in the car already, but they're going to be fastened by 3 rivets. Basically, actually, I was going to put a couple more rivets in here, but the position of them doesn't work out, and it's actually super strong with only 3. So the other ones I didn't drill these 2 extra holes, but basically, I don't know if you can, sorry, it's kind of hard to see, but where your sunroof actually screws in, there's a hole right about here, and it's a 3/16-ish size, so I just drilled my 3/16 through it, widened it a bit for these rivets, and that's kind of where I based off my first hole, and then using this rib here is where I put these other 2 ones, so these are nice and strong. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other couple ones in, and then I got this all riveted in as well. So far what it looks like: corner support, middle support, corner support. So we're going to have another one here and another one there. So we're making some good progress right now, and I got all my supports riveted in, so let's get a good look at those. So now that I got my supports in there nice and fastened with some rivets and they feel really solid, it's time to now set that piece onto the supports and kind of see where I'm going to have to do some shimming to make it nice and flush with the roof. Alright, as you can see, it does sit down a little bit in the front here, about a 1/4 inch, maybe more than that, and then it's a little shallower at the back. So I'm not happy with that. I'm not going to rivet it down the way it is. So what I'm going to do is, since I have extra pieces of this plastic or this ABS, I'm going to go ahead and cut little pieces of it for my supports and kind of shim up the front, and then I'll work my way to the back. Alrighty, here we go. So I went ahead and cut out these shims. This is 1/4 inch, the same thickness as my panel. So cut out 2 of these for the front corners, and then I got 1 big piece in the middle to kind of take up some slack. And then I'll kind of, since these are a little bit shallower, I'm going to work with those after I put the panel on and see how this sits the way it is, like that. Well, I think that's looking pretty good. I think the front is pretty dang good. The back corners, I'm actually gonna make the same 1/4 inch shims to bring them up because it looks like they're about a 1/4 inch too low on the back corners. And then I think honestly, after that, it's almost ready to finalize it. So I'm really happy with how this is coming along. Leave a comment in the sections below if you think this is a good way to do it. This is kind of my own twist on things because I like to do things differently. Alright, so I've gone ahead and done a couple measurements. I measured the center of the actual sunroof. It's a 16 3/4 inch to center, and then I want to have my rivets to be 1 inch from the edge, and then I want them to be 2 inches apart. So basically that's what I got going on. I'm gonna go ahead and start with these 2, and then I'll do it on the front on these 2, and then I'll probably put another 2 in the middle, and then basically 2 or 3 on each corner, and we'll see how it turns out. Stainless steel machine screw with a finishing washer, and that's basically what I'm using to get this thing finished up. So let's go ahead, get it all finished up, and then we can put some sealant on it. We now have it finally bolted down. It's looking really good. So now that we got it bolted down, I'm just gonna throw some of this black big stretch, just a thin bead. You're not gonna be able to see it. Just gonna make it look good and clean. Okay guys, so we are finally 100% done. Probably can't see it, but we will get to it in a minute. I'll give you a nice close-up look of it. So thanks again guys for watching the video. I know that I could have easily just bolted a piece of aluminum to the roof or screwed it or riveted it onto the roof. It would have been fast, it would have been cheap, but it would have been kind of hack. I could have bought a $250 fiberglass or even more expensive carbon fiber insert, bolted in. It would have been done in 20 minutes, but it's a lot of money and it's not really built by myself, you know, someone else builds the part. So I like doing things on my own, hence why I did it this way. I kind of completely made it up as I went along doing it, basically. I just, my first idea was, let's get ABS. And I had no idea how I was gonna brace it until I got here and kind of looked at it. So I hope you guys liked my kind of different approach at the sunroof delete. I haven't seen it done quite this way before, but it's 100% removable. And it doesn't ruin the exterior of the car at all. Let's go take a nice close look at this thing. I'll show you the inside, what it looks like all done. I got the sealer in there, and it shouldn't leak at all. So yes, this cost me about $100 to delete, mainly because the ABS 2x4 foot piece was $80, and then the caulking was $10, and the hardware was $10-ish. So, but on the upside, I sold my headliner for $50, and I sold my sunroof assembly for $175. So I'm still at the top of the game here, still making money, put back into the drift car. So in reality, this didn't cost me anything because it was paid for by the parts that were taken out. Now, that is going to be it for my part 3 of the sunroof delete video, and this was the making of the sunroof delete panel. So thank you everyone who watched the video, and like it if you think I did a good job and it looks clean, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and we'll catch you guys next time.